Welcome back to Income Trading 101. Today is Sunday, March the 14th. Happy Pi Day to those of you out here who get it. March the 14th, 2021. Today we're taking a look at Litecoin. And this is also one of the more popular crypto tokens out there, or crypto coins. So let's go ahead and take a look. I'm using the version on Coinbase, and we're looking at Litecoin versus the US dollar. So first thing I want to do is see how far back we can get some information. Oh, big time. That's good. Okay. Well, I didn't even realize. So Litecoin participated in that big run up of Bitcoin back in the summer, or back in 2017, and then it had a similar fate where it dropped on back to, look at this, a low here of, we'll call it $22, roughly $22.17, something like that. And then today we are $218, but at its high, it went 10x of where that low was. So very interesting. Very, very interesting. They certainly survived the cryptocurrency winter, if you will. And let's go ahead and pull this forward. And I'm going to get rid of the volume, just because I'm not really a volume guy. There are entire technical indicators based on volume and trying to get prediction and whatnot, forecasting on volume. That's just not something that I do. So we are going to start off the same way we always do. Take a look at the moving averages. And I'm gonna stick with the 10, the 20, and the 60. But if you use something different specifically for cryptocurrency, why don't you share it in the comments? I'm very curious what you guys use when it comes to your own technical analysis. I'm always up for hearing other trading styles. I'm not really interested in, people that I think they're bots that put information for other people's Instagram and phone number. Don't touch those. Those are just bots. But anyway, yeah, if you have anything different, because I've always used the 10, the 20, and the 60, at least for starters, when I'm looking at equities, because that's the equivalent of 2 weeks, 1 month, and 3 months. But when you're dealing with an asset class that trades over the weekend and doesn't actually stop, like you can see how right now Litecoin is trading. You can see it if you look at the red over here in the upper right hand corner of the screen. You'll see time is ticking, and you'll see changes in the price there. So this market is trading right now, and we're going to analyze it while it's going. So looking at this, you can see how when the trend is strong, you see the 10 is higher than the 20, is higher than the 60, and we've just gone through a bit of a correction, and we pulled higher to where the 10 is higher than the 20 and the 60. So I would actually expect bare minimum for Litecoin to retest that 240 level. In fact, back here on February the 20th, it had a high of $247. I would not be surprised if we saw a $30 pop in this in the coming weeks to retest those levels. And the reason I say that is, look at each of these. So you had back in November, late November, you had a pullback, and then it retested the previous level. It failed. It pulled back. But notice how the low was actually higher. So definition of a trend, of an upward trend for sure, is higher highs and higher lows. Next up, we blew through the previous levels. We had a pullback. We blew through the previous level, pullback. Blew through the previous levels, big pullback. Up some to previous resistance, fell lower, and then started this little grind higher where it just shot on up, pulled back, shot higher, and then it fell lower, and now we're seeing this sort of up move, down some, up move, down some, up move. So just to get a better sense, what I'm talking about is you look at this up move that started, the week, 2 weeks ago in March, up move, couple days of pullback, up move, 1 day of pullback, 2 days really a pullback, but finished in the positive, up move, and now we've got 1 day of pullback. Maybe we'll get a second day, but I'm kind of expecting this thing ultimately to retest that high. It could happen soon. It might take a while to do it. I don't know, but let's take a look at some other time frames. So we'll drop it down to the 1 hour and see if we see anything of interest. So this is more interesting because we see we look at that last pullback in a lot more detail, and in the 1 hour time frame, this actually appears to be heading lower, meaning the 10 and the 20 are still sitting in a scenario or sitting in the direction that makes me think they're going lower. It'll take another up move to pull that 10 period higher. And once the 10 pulls higher, so right now the 10 is below the 60, which is below the 20. So you have 20, 60, 10. So this is a congestion period, but it's only going to take a couple of up bars to change that. And I'm trying my best sometimes to stop from being completely biased in the analysis. So right now, look at this. At the 30-minute level, we have, let me find, sometimes it's hard to see, so it's just as easy to go look at the actual numbers. So you've got, I'm going to put this on the right side of the bars, so I'm sticking with the right bar. If you look in the upper left-hand corner, you can see the 10 period is 217.97, the 20 is 218.51, and the 60 is 222.71. And that right there is a downward move. That means that right now, this is still teeing up to continue heading lower. So we'll have to watch that. And I imagine at the 15-minute level, there's not going to be a whole lot of, look at that. At the 15-minute level, we have the 10 period sitting firmly between the 20 and the 60. So some congestion there. So let's see. Congestion at the 15. At the 30-minute, it looks like it's a downward trend. At the 1 hour, we have congestion. And at the 1 day, it looks like an upward trend. So I like to enter, I've mentioned this before, I like using the shorter time frames, shorter time periods to enter into a trade. I probably will wait for at least the 15-minute to not be I think it was the 15 that's in a period of congestion. Once that's in line, certainly in line ideally with the 30 as well, I would look to buy. I'm a little leery of selling because this is an upward trend. So I'm a trend trader. I want to trade in the direction of the most powerful trend, and so far that's just been higher. Let's take a look now at the MACD just to get a sense of what momentum's been doing. And we can also look at that one across different time periods and see what it shows us. So no surprise here, given this uptrend. You're not going to see the MACD or the signal line go into the negative, into the oversold area much, because this has been an upward trend. So it's just going to oscillate back and forth, up and down, above the zero line. And above the zero line is typically an overbought. So you're going to have that in an upward trend. Let's look at the 1 hour though. So in the 1 hour, we did get that pullback with that last trend. And look, you've got the MACD and the signal line sitting below. They're sitting in oversold territory. I would love to see that cross and see the MACD, the blue line, start to cross into the positive like it did back here on, what would that be, March 11th. Also like it did back here on March the 8th. And just to see that go higher, not just cross the red line, the signal line, but also to go above the 0 line into that's a great confirmation of the trend. Let's look at the 30-minute. So the 30-minute, of course, is we do see that crossover that I was just mentioning across below the 0 line. So you're in the oversold category, but I still want to see that blue line head closer to 0 and start to go positive before I'm really going to go in with a strong buy for this. And let's just take it down to the 15-minute. So look at that. The 15-minute had the cross, and the blue, the MACD line, is approaching the 0 line. So this could be showing a nice, this 15 could end up giving us a nice buy indication very soon. If you remember with the 15-minute, the moving averages, there seemed to be a bit of congestion. In fact, we can put those on top of each other. I always look at them one after another, but there's no reason why we couldn't look at all three at the same point. So let me go ahead and specify this back out. That is one of the things I like about using TradeStation. Geez, that's going old school. One of the things I like about using TradingView as a charting tool, it's fairly robust and also pretty easy to learn. So it makes it easier to teach on. So look, in the 15-minute point, we're in congestion, and I said that because the 10 is between the 60 and the 20 period, but I like what's happening with the MACD, right? The MACD is starting to give us an indication that maybe this thing is going higher. Now, I don't want to ignore the fact I see this blue line, the MACD line, sort of trailing a bit lower today. But this is one of those scenarios where one positive bar, one strong bar, a couple of strong bars in a row, and this thing will completely change direction and look like. I mean, the best thing and the worst thing sometimes is that these technical indicators might give you congestion one day and then give you a signal the next. And if you're not paying attention, the overall averages can change. And suddenly you'll look back and say, why did I ever take that trade? That was a horrible trade. And that's part of the reason why I like to calculate some of this on my own, just so that I can have a history of like what I actually saw. Like, what did I see? What was making sense when I decided to take this trade, right? So that's it for these two. Let's take a look now. There really isn't a Fibonacci retracement to really analyze, to really look back at. Let's see. I mean, I would say, okay, well, let's analyze where we are in this bit of a pullback relative to previous pullbacks. But the truth of it is, each of these pullbacks has sought a new high. So if we were to see the same thing here, it doesn't make sense to try to analyze the pullback, because we very well may end up grinding or popping up to a new high. But what I am going to look at right off the bat, I want to see if there are any levels that are sort of reoccurring. So So just going to bring that on across. That would be something I'm curious about. Just trying to get a sense of what I might see out there. I don't mind when I'm doing these channels. I don't mind actually ignoring some points, like ignoring some of the extremes, mostly because this is not an exact science, right? My goal is just to capture as much data as I can inside of here, but I also know I'm not going to get all of it, so it's okay. End up, let's see. I think that needs to disappear. There we go. pull this a little higher. Because once again, this gives me a nice little indication of where this thing could go. So, you know, if prices stay near or around this sort of trend, this trend higher, we could also see not just 240 as a level, but maybe this 257, 260 as a price target in Litecoin, which would be very nice. I also don't want to make light of the fact that these coins don't sit in bubbles by themselves, meaning, I guess what I mean by that is the fact that there are correlations to other things like possibly Ethereum and Bitcoin, the overall crypto kings that can affect this. But in and of itself, this analysis makes me really significantly more bullish Litecoin than I probably had been before. And especially, I mean, I really like, in fact, let's not just expand that. Let's take it to a lower time frame, like a 4 hour. I love this right here. I mean, this is such a strong little channel that's going on that you really just have to, you really just kind of have to like say, okay, this is strong right now. And if I were to sell this, I really would be sort of going counter. In fact, if I do this, so notice that when I change the angle, not only do I get closer to picking up this bar, but I also am catching more of these other closes, and it fits. Sometimes it just fits better. And so remember, all of this is kind of approximate anyway. None of this is 100% certain. So it's not a bad thing to kind of play with the data, see what makes the most sense, see what works ultimately, and then you know, you kind of shoot from there. The real goal is always to be able to say, yes, I think it's a buy. No, I think it's a sell, and adjust your, you know, trades accordingly, you know. But, you know, there's a such thing as overfitting too. And when you overfit, you end up creating a scenario where you've probably created the perfect analysis that just isn't going to work. So that's it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to leave it in the comment section. And, you know, if you have not already subscribed to this channel, please hit the subscribe button. I create videos like this on stock, Forex, futures, and crypto every day of the week. So typically focus on the weekends with crypto. I do stock during the week. And of course, that can change too. Sometimes crypto has a big move, and so it's worth covering in the middle of the week too. So that's it. Have a great week. Happy trading.